रूहानी सफ़ात भी देखते हैं जो कि ऐसी सफ़ात जो कि इंसानों में भी आ सकती हैं। यही एक हल है जिससे हम अमन हासिल कर सकते हैं। कितने लोग ऐसा करना चाहेंगे? वो ये तो कहेंगे कि वो हमारे पुराने जो फौत शुदा बुजुर्ग हैं उनमें वो खुदा की तरफ गए हैं, लेकिन वो अपने आप पर उसको लगाना नहीं चाहते। रोज़ाना हमें ऐसा इख्तियार मिलता है कि हम अच्छे इंसान की तरह अमल करें या अपनी खुदगर्जी के मुताबिक अमल।
So how can peace emerge from disorder? It's not possible. But to soften the message down to a level of acceptability, this is impossible apparently. No man would desire to leave the world and return to God before his death. At death, he would return to him willy-nilly anyway. But let's talk of some other formula which is down-to-earth formula which is possible. We can begin to inch our way to God, if not return to Him in total. And that is something which is possible for every human being, and it should be started at some time in one's life. Because man has always two options open to him, either moving in the direction of God and godliness or moving away from Him. There is nothing stationary. It's only a false notion that one is securely settled and he neither moves on this side nor on the other. Those who are not nearing God, they are always distancing themselves from God. So this is the formula which has been provided to us by the Holy Founder of Islam, that if you cannot return to God in toto, if you think you have sinned away the time of your forgiveness, then start moving towards Him. This message was conveyed to us through a most wonderful simile. I mean, something which seems to have happened but didn't happen like it happened in the tale. But it's a story-like thing which is potent with deep wisdom and messages. The Holy Founder told his companions of a sinful person who was so sinful that beyond that a sinful person could not be conceived. He had broken all laws. He had transgressed all limits. His crimes against God reached their limit. His crimes against humanity reached their limit. And he had committed so many murders. So, only a few left from the tally of 100. He hadn't reached yet his century in murders, but was quite close to it. So one day he decided, maybe my time of returning to God is near, let me do something about it. How long will I live a life of sin? So he inquired about the saintly people, and he was told that there is one saintly man who may tell him an answer to his dilemma and offer him some solution. So he went to him. And when he heard his list, like in Catholicism, they hear the list of crimes in confession, he was abhorred. He said, "You think you can still be forgiven? You can still be redeemed? Forget about it. You're lost." He said, "Is that right?" He said, "Yes, it is." He said, "If I'm lost, then one added murder would do me no harm." So he murdered him. And then he went to another divan, another, until the tally reached 99. Now the numbers are just similes, they're symbols of perfection of something. And then he reached a divine person who was really godly, he was humble. who knew what forgiveness was, who knew how people sin. So he went to him and he recounted everything. He said, yes, I know it seems impossible, but God is limitless, we are limited people. Our crimes also have boundaries, but God's mercy has no boundaries. So change yourself, begin to change yourself, and hope for the best. But he said, how can I begin to change myself? The answer was, leave the city of the sinful and move to the city of the pious. Now this is a symbol, like a parable of Jesus Christ, which meant leave the society of the sinful people and move away to the society of those who are pious people. That's the only way. But symbolically it was demonstrated in a different way. In that anecdote, the Holy Prophet said that he left as if it was a real city of sinful against a city of the holy people. He left the city of the sinful and started his journey in the direction of the city of the pious people. There is a long, long way between the two, big distance. So he was moving in that direction when the old age ultimately overcame him and he saw the approach of death. And he was so worried that he started crawling in the direction of the city of the pious. Then death overtook him. Now in that anecdote it is told that the angels who are responsible for forgiveness and the angels who are responsible for punishment, they had a big quarrel among themselves. And they presented their respective cases before God. They said, this is the man, he had not yet reached the city of the holy people, so said the angels of punishment. Now what about, we must be given the charge of this man to punish him. And the other said, no, he was moving in that direction. As far as his intention goes, he had decided. So, yet the city was, quite some distance away, farther away from where he died. So according to this tradition, the Holy Prophet said, God told them to measure the distance between the city of sin and the place of his death, and between the city of the holy people and the place of his death. Whichever distance is closer, he should be counted among the dwellers of that city. And when the angels started measuring the distance from the city of the sinful towards the place where he died, the earth began to elongate and enlarge, and the yards seemed to be too short. And they went on counting yards upon yards, and they wouldn't end until there was a long, long distance created. And when they moved to the other side, the earth squeezed. And in a matter of a jitty, this other city was reached. So he said, this is the mercy of Allah. This is the magnificence of God's forgiveness. When he so desires, he can forgive people. And everything is his servant. So that is the answer. The first answer which I gave you was too, sort of idealistic. But this is a real answer. If a man having advanced that much in sin can be retrieved by the mercy of Allah, why not we ordinary people here living on earth? So if we begin to move, and here decision making is important. Once a society decides, individually of course, but collectively in the end, that we must begin to mend our ways and move in the direction of that which pleases God. From then on, they will be in safe hands. Then things will begin to change. But if you continue to proceed the disastrous road to the precipice of destruction, if on your television daily there is more message of defiance, more tone of defiance, there is no sanctity left in religious values.